My mother, she was a wonderful mother. And I know they loved me to death. And I was going to tell you about this little rhyme that I thought about. Mother, she taught it to me, and I think it was probably she was trying to help me see myself when I was a little girl. She said there was a little girl that had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. She was always pushing my hair back. And when she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bad, she was hard. And I know that was me. I know it was. And she wanted me to improve, really. And she did her best. My name is Ida Waters, and I've been a member at First Methodist since 1958. Life is certainly different now than it was a long time ago. There's so many changes. I mean, gosh, it's unbelievable what the Lord has given us. And He knows what we need when we need it. Downtown, people used to come to town on Saturday and they would buy boiled peanuts and park the car and just watch people coming and going. I mean, that was the time to come to town, And especially if the tobacco market was in session at that time. I mean, tobacco, you could smell it. I mean, you didn't have to get too far into town before you'd start smelling the tobacco. It was really a big industry. And it was a good thing for the local people at that time, farmers and all. But things do change, don't they? Downtown, Si took over the old theater building, and that's where the downtown store still is. We bought it, and he remodeled it. And Mr. Griner had a hardware store in the part next to where Minkovitz was. And Mr. Griner also had, not only did he sell hardware, he also had crickets. And the crickets had to be kept warm upstairs, and he had some special thing that he kept them in. And something went wrong with that thing, and it started the fire up there. And that store burned down completely. There was a lot of wood there that burned, and we had a fire sale after that, which turned out pretty good. It was amazing. I mean, Si tried to save, he worked himself trying to save everything he could, but of course he couldn't save everything. But that's what started the fire. Mother and Daddy were married in 1911. She was born in 1889. Daddy was born in 1880, you see. He was 55, Mother was 46 when I was born. Can you imagine having a child? There were 7 of us, and I was the last one. And of course they lost 2 of us, 2 of the children. I went to Glen Academy. Mother, Daddy died when I was 15, and I was going to Glen Academy at that time. And she stayed down there for me to finish, to graduate from Glen Academy. And then we moved to Statesboro because I had 2 sisters who had married brothers, and they were living in Statesboro. Mother and I joined the Baptist Church in Statesboro. And eventually, Si and I got married in the Baptist Church. Rather than try to make him join the Baptist Church, I thought, well, the best thing for me to do would be to join the Methodist Church, like my sisters before me had done, the 2 sisters that lived in Statesboro. And I went to Georgia Teachers College, it was then. And I knew I didn't want to be a teacher, so I took a 2-year business course in accounting. And after that, I was able to get a job with the Life Insurance Company of Georgia as their head bookkeeper. And then I worked there until the week before Anthony was born. Si was working his head off trying to, make a living, and he was a young man just with a lot of energy, and he was amazing. He was just what I needed. Ephesians 4:2, always be humble and be patient with each other, making allowances for each other's faults because of your love. And it went on to say, try always to be led along together by the Holy Spirit and be at peace with one another. I think that is something that if young couples, could keep that in their minds, it would certainly help promote harmony in the family. Okay, we have 3 children. Anthony, and then Fred came along. He was our middle child. And our daughter was born, Laura Ann Waters. We have 7 grandchildren. Anthony has the 2 boys. Fred has a girl and a boy. And Laurie has 2 boys and a girl. And they're wonderful. If a young mom should ask me for advice, I would tell her to seek the Lord and let Him tell you how to manage. Yes, I could not have done it. In fact, I got to the point where I thought, I just don't know how I'm going to make it. I really thought life was just overwhelming. There was no way I could carry on and bring these children up like they were supposed to be brought up. And honestly, I did have a breakdown. But, and I knew that I needed help. So I did not fight any kind of help I could get. But there were several people that I know who had the same sort of problems, and we were helped each other getting through it. And without the Lord and the family and friends, I never would be sitting here today, that's for sure. But I came, it was good. The Lord works things out. Those things that we think are bad, He can work out for something good. And all that I went through made me see how bad things could really be without Him. But if I learned to trust Him more than I trusted myself, and that's life. That's life eternal. And that Bible verse is one that came to mind when I really needed it at times. And it's in Psalms 127, verse 3. Lo, children are an heritage from the Lord.
Love it.
Yeah. To be a Christian, to be a real Christian, a lot of people might claim to be Christian, but unless you really know or try to know and seek Christ Himself and invite Him to be living inside of you, that's what He wants us to be. He wants us to be His, and He wants to be in us so He can help us live the abundant life. Not that I speak from want, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I am in. That's the peace of God. And it comes from knowing Jesus and having a personal relationship with Him.